You see that bad boy getting a blowjob? That's not me. This is me. And my name's Dion Biggs. I work down by Wall Street. You want to know what my job is?
Your job is to sell Christmas trees!
Yo, Justin. Hey. Yo, I know you're Chris's assistant and everything, but you work for me now, okay? And your only job is to chill all day, every day, and get your dick sucked.
Hello, everyone who listens to the We Are Trash People podcast feed. Presumably the podcast as well, and not just the spaces in between, which I suppose would represent the feed. This is our podcast about CGP, Chris Gethard Presents. This will be the pre-podcast portion of it. If we ever make a post-podcast portion of it, we'll let you know. But the pre-podcast or pre-broadcast, it just sounded better as an alliteration, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it is pre-broadcast, not pre-podcast, but I do miss the alliteration. Geth did call the Chris Gethard Show the Chris Gethard Show podcast.
That's a good point.
So we could call that other show the Chris Gethard Presents podcast. Also, I'm Forrest, the keeper of the Canon.
And I'm Emily Pineapple, and we are here to talk about the comedian and or other person. Mostly because Banana Man is on, and I don't know if he does actually do comedy, but he does comedic things. So the person who's being featured for that episode, we're going to talk about them. We're going to talk about their career. We're going to talk about things we can find out about them on the internet. A quick disclaimer, we're not Random Jean. We're not as good at stalking people as she is.
No, I do not have a future as a private investigator, whereas Random Jean, if she wanted to, could totally be like the next Sam Spade and get all sorts of valuable artifacts from criminals.
So we wanted to do this short version of the podcast so that we could, celebrate and give a little bit of a history and interesting things about the person who will be taking over the show. Discuss a bit about who they work with, their connections to the Chris Gethard Show, and hopefully places where you can see more of them. Because, I mean, that's the whole point, right? To put some eyes on some cool people.
Yeah, I mean, that really is our main goal with this, is to highlight people who have done cool stuff.
Well, we think we're Chris Gethard now?
Well, I mean, that is sort of the underlying joke of this, yes, is we are handing over episodes of our podcast to talking about the people he has handed over the time slot to. But no, I am not Chris Gethard. And neither are you. Unless, dear listener, you are in fact Chris Gethard.
Oh, Jesus. No.
And then please stop.
Stop wasting
too much
your
pressure.
time.
Go. You have a child. Take care of your baby.
Stop wasting your goddamn time. You have comedians to, I don't know, give a platform to. And a child to give a platform to. Well, I mean, I suppose food too.
I mean,
like a metaphorical platform.
If CGP runs long enough, we could have little baby Gethard taking over the time slot.
Baby Geth. All right. Before we get too off the rails on this beautiful Monday night.
If we haven't already.
We're going to be talking about Carmen Christopher. Carmen Christopher is going to be taking over CGP on June 26th, 2019, this Wednesday, as we are recording it. And it's going to be the very first episode of Chris Gethard Presents. Oh my God, are you crazy excited, Forrest?
I mean, I'm really excited. I was, as soon as I learned that Carmen Christopher was going to be the one hosting it, I just got super psyched, and I can't wait to see what he does with it because he's such a creative comedy multi-hyphenate.
So we saw him open for Chris Gethard when we saw him touring. What was the name of that tour?
Lose Well.
The Lose Well tour.
Yeah, it was the Lose Well tour.
We saw him open for Chris Gethard here in Oakland, which was really, really great. Did you know who he was before that stand-up?
Yeah, I'd seen the video that he did for the Chris Gethard Show, where he tries to help them sell more units by going out and asking people what they like the Chris Gethard Show or other object, which, as JD Amato points out in the video, is basically just taking the human fish's bit and doing it. And so I knew him from that, and I loved that video.
So I had also seen him then before I saw his stand-up, but just didn't put those together in my head because I am not the keeper of the canon and therefore somehow able to keep this encyclopedic knowledge of humans in my head at all times.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's what happened. Yeah,
Well, I
no.
would have been a lot more excited.
Yeah, that's why I was so excited when they said it was Carmen Christopher opening for Gethard. Because I knew him. I already loved his video.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. And it was really, really fun researching him and watching a lot of his old stuff and the people who he's worked with, because he is like really, really incredible. Like, he's a really, really funny guy. And he does a type of character that at least like me personally, I haven't traditionally really glommed to.
He's definitely doing. Yeah, I agree that the character he's doing is hard. I think it's descended from that the frat pack, the like Seth Rogen, Judd Apatow era. It's like another iteration of that kind of character, but taken obviously in his own unique way, with a very different sensibility. But you can see how that character, you could like the lineage you can connect, and I think that's part of why you've seen so many people try to pull it off, because it had a moment where that dude was like a huge sort of archetype in comedy. I think that's sort of shifting, but he's nailing it in a way that it's just so great that you can't help but love it.
You really can't. So here is his biography from imdb.com. Carmen is a Brooklyn-based comedian from Chicago, Illinois. He was a writer and performer on The Chris Gethard Show and has appeared on At Home with Amy Sedaris, A Maine Movie, Late Night with Seth Meyers, MTV's Bugging Out, IFC Comedy Cribs, and a 2017 Comedy Central comic to watch. Oh, and was one of those.
Yes.
Yeah, he wasn't on it. He wasn't watched by Comedy Central, but we should. He also has roles in an upcoming season of HBO's High Maintenance, Comedy Central's Alternatino, which I've watched some sketches of online, and it is really funny, and Netflix original movie Otherhood. He created Little Banks on Wall Street and co-created Sunset Peak for Comedy Central, both of which are web series. He performs stand-up, sketch, and improv all around New York City and has been touring opening for Chris Gethard.
There's also a great quote about him from the New York Times that you originally highlighted, which
Oh, yeah, because it's my favorite quote, and then I gave you the section to say it.
Exactly.
Go for it.
Thank
Say
you.
it.
Thank you for giving me the good material, which is Carmen Christopher pairs his dead-eye glare with a similar Tasmanian devil abandon, from the New York Times.
And that just so perfectly sums him up, right?
Oh, it does. No, there is definitely a wildness to a lot of his characters, which is great, and he just commits so hard to all of them. But also, in addition to being a writer on the Chris Gethard Show, Carmen Christopher portrayed a strawberry who gave a shout out to Billy Crystal, the man in sunglasses who just walked onto set and drank some water, and Cool Jesus. He also presented his visionary work, Carmen Christopher Presents Blood Toilet, in the series finale. And he was also on 8 episodes of the special without Brett Davis, which took over the M&N time slot that the Chris Gethard Show had, and that Chris Gethard Presents is now retaking from the special. So it's like a pretty hallowed time slot at this point on M&N, I think. And then if you live in New York, you should definitely check out Carmen Christopher Presents Hi, I'm the Weird Guy, which is a show he's been doing all around NYC. His
frequent collaborators are Connor O'Malley, best known to TCGS fans as the Beast Masturbator. They do a really great short together on Connor O'Malley's YouTube page called, what is it, Cubs Boys?
It's Wrigleyville Cubs Playboys.
Oh my gosh.
And then there's an earlier one too that I don't have the name of right at the tip of my fingers, but like that's the one that that one's real good.
Yeah, and they play like intense baseball fans of the Wrigleyville variety, and they're both from Chicago, so many of the jokes I'm sure are pretty specific to there. I didn't know you didn't put ketchup on hot dogs if you are from there.
I learned that because of the Star Wars convention that was held in Chicago, because I saw people from Chicago make jokes about how you don't put ketchup on hot dogs. And I was very confused that was a faux pas.
Yeah, we're from San Francisco where we eat tasty things.
I mean, we put potatoes on pizza. Like we're pretty out there when it comes to our food.
He also is a collaborator with Marty Shosbo.
I'm not sure, and I apologize, Marty, if you're listening.
Showsbo. Marty wrote and directed a lot of the things that Carmen was in. He's directed 9 episodes of Joe Pera Talks With You, which Connor O'Malley and Joe Firestone write for and star in. And Joe Pera was Zero Fucks Boyd in the TCGS episode Talkin' Teens, A Big Announcement, True or False, and the crowd-sourced character contest.
Another frequent collaborator of Carmen's is John Reynolds, who you might know from Stranger Things and Search Party.
On Stranger Things, he's the younger cop.
Yeah.
In the place. And he looks a lot like the guy from How I Met Your Mother. Is this my face blindness?
Ted Mosby?
He looks so much like Ted Mosby with glasses.
I see it. I mean, I think he looks I think that there's more of a resemblance with him and Brett Davis from the special without Brett Davis.
They all look like the same human to me.
Oh, I don't quite see that. But while he's probably best known for Stranger Things and Search Party, you, dear listener, may know him from when he was Lawrence, the human fish's old boss at the Auntie Ons in the LaGuardia airport, from an episode of the Chris Gethard show that was on True TV. I loved that one. I loved the whole Auntie Ons thing. Auntie Ans, Auntie Ons.
He's pretty great. He's in a lot of things with him. You can also see Carmen Christopher in a short called Forget About It on John Reynolds' page, YouTube page, which is excellent.
And then another frequent collaborator is Gary Richardson, who has done quite a few Gethard-related things. For one, he was Chef Benjamin Noodles on the Chris Gethard show, who even made the poster. So pretty significant character with his wife who looks and sounds like Beyonce, who's missing.
The True TV poster.
Yeah, the True TV poster. Despite him being on a Fusion episode, he was on the True TV poster. And then he was also on the infamous Chris Gethard 2016 election special. That has essentially disappeared from the internet because it just got too sad by the end, as Gethard was like sitting alone in the studio under blown up balloons. And then he was also, in happier news, Geth's co-host on In Your Dreams with Chris Gethard, brought to you by Casper Mattress, where he was a dream expert and dream interpreter who would help Gethard unravel the secret meanings behind the listener's dreams.
And then the last contributor that we have highlighted is Anna Fabrega, who also wrote for the Chris Gethard show. She played Toyota Prius.
She played Toyota Prius and the man. Nope.
The lady who is mad her Uber will not take her to space on the last episode of the Chris Gethard show. And you can check her out on Los Spookies,
yes,
right?
Which she co-created with TCGS writer Julio Torres and then Fred Armisen.
Which is just amazing.
Yeah. No, if we had HBO, we'd be watching it.
Oh, yeah. No, we need a friend with HBO. Like, that's the main reason we need to make new friends right now, is because one of them might have HBO.
Yeah, no, Game of Thrones ending wasn't the time where we decided, let's just ditch HBO. It's like, that really is right when we're like, I think we need this home box office so we can watch Los Spookies.
So some of the previous work that Carmen Christopher has done, and we've ordered this in a roughly chronological order to perhaps give a idea of his career and how it has expanded since the beginning of his IMDb listings / YouTube page, to the rest of the shit that he has online, because we don't live in New York and we can't see local stand-up.
Yeah, no, this is only a partial documentation of the journey that took him from Chicago YouTube comedian to Chris Gethard Presents on the prestigious Manhattan Neighborhood Network.
Damn. Okay, so the first thing to highlight is he was on a web series called Delivery Dudes in 2013. Which follows the antics of pizza delivery guys. And this was with Joe Avila, who wrote it and directed it and is in it. I don't know if he directed it.
He's definitely in it.
He's definitely in it and starred and wrote it. It's like his thing. Gary Richardson and John Reynolds. There is an entire pilot of this online. in addition to just like a couple of sketches. And I found it delightful.
Yeah, I really liked the pilot.
Yeah. I was surprised because I was like, oh, this was definitely shot in 2013. And, you know, it's the first thing on his YouTube. I wasn't expecting to like be blown away, but I really liked it.
Yeah, he came out of the gate a lot stronger than a lot of other 2013 web series. It also held up much better than a lot of 2013 web series do.
Oh, I know, right?
And then after that, we mentioned it already, but in 2016, he did the Wrigleyville Cubs Playboys with Connor O'Malley, where they just say lots of toxic shit and look into the camera and then get drunk and just cause a whole lot of mayhem to support their Cubbies.
Yeah, as in the character of dudes who are just way too into the Cubs. And there are 2 videos where they do those characters. They have 2 episodes. Connor is also from Chicago. So we have no idea. We are not Random Gene yet again. We don't know when Carmen Christopher got to New York. Those places are a lot closer together than California is from either of those. So he might have been commuting. I don't know. You looked at me like I'm insane.
I don't think he was commuting. Well, I mean, maybe a little bit. You mean like flying out every once in a while?
Yeah.
That's true. And also, this video got written up by the AV Club, so I think this could have been like a start of his rise to prominence and getting some of the heat on him. And in the video, they play Mark and Matt.
Yeah.
Who both live in Wrigleyville and are like, their whole being is about their devotion to the Chicago Cubs.
Yeah. The next thing is Sunset Peak, which was an absurd Comedy Central web series about 3 friends who live in an idyllic town. Carmen started with John Reynolds and Gary Richardson, directed by Marty Shoesba. So the really fun thing about this is not just that there's like a couple fun sketches on YouTube. Alyssa and 2 other busy Deborahs are in the episode.
Yeah.
It's Alyssa.
Yeah.
He checked in with her.
Yeah. No, it was amazing. I remember as soon as I saw Alyssa in the background, we were just like, what?
Yeah.
Alyssa?
Yeah. And then we're looking, we're like stopping the frame and like looking at pictures of the Deborahs. We're like, is it them?
Yeah, it completely derailed our watching of it. We're like, no, we have to get to the bottom of this. Is that Alyssa?
But yeah, that's really cool because that's like starting in 2016, which was 3 years ago. Like he was doing stuff with Alyssa and the Deborahs.
And then in that same year, he also did Little Banks on Wall Street, which is a web series about a Christmas tree salesman who's trying to make it big by following in the footsteps of the Wolf of Wall Street. And it's incredible. Carmen wrote and created it, and then co-stars in it with Connor O'Malley and Anna Fabrega. And it's directed and edited by our old friend Marty Shoesba. And I loved it.
I watched more of the episodes than you. This
did.
Was the only reason, like, we didn't see all of these because of time.
Yeah.
Or, like, I watched some, like, by myself. I think that it's really exemplary of his voice in that he does do the sort of, like, man-child character that he often does. Like,
I agree that it really captures his voice.
There are lasers. Are lasers.
Yeah,
Invisible people that like melt people, and then just like things that shoot lasers out of their eyes, and like
I also really liked the Ferris Buellery breaking the fourth wall and directly addressing the viewer throughout it, because I think that helped ground it in the sort of absurdist element while also being a nice tie back to Chicago.
Yeah.
So I really liked it. I mainly saw the pilot, or the first one. Was it the pilot? No, it's the first episode, and it's
by callback to Chicago. Do you mean Wrigleyville Clubs?
No, because Ferris Bueller's Day Off is set in Chicago.
Oh,
and so I don't know if that was on purpose, but like because he's from Chicago and referenced it so much early on, I thought about that link. I don't know if it's on purpose or not. It's also a fun way to be like, I'm a mischievous scamp. Follow my adventures. So, and then after that, but also after that, in 2018.
Oh, well, I just wanted to mention just super quick that he did some shorts for MTV, their prank show Buggin' Out. So you just get to see him like messing with people in a mall.
But then after that, he was in Reveries, which is a 2018 visual comedy album created and written by Matt Barretts and Anthony Oberbeck, and co-starring Ana Fabrega, Toyota Prius, and creator of Los Spookies. And it's available in its entirety on Vimeo. This is one where we haven't watched it yet.
We
because
watched
had time,
selected bits.
but we watched bits.
Mostly because I was curious because we were like, oh, we just saw the comedy album on Netflix by those guys.
The Lonely Islands.
Yeah.
The unauthorized Bash Brothers experience.
Yeah, so I was curious like how it would compare. And this one is like way more spoken wordy. But all of the words that were spoken made me crack up. So I'm really excited to like go back and watch this one.
Yeah, I'm also excited to watch that one just because it looks very trippy. Like there's some parts where images are overlaid onto the frame, and so you get this like cool contrast going. It looks very cool, and I'm really excited to check it out.
Yeah. And then there's a main movie, which was in 2018, and this one had a Vulture article written about it, reviewing it. And I really, really want to see this one. I wasn't able to grab it, but there is a wonderful thing, a trailer. There's a wonderful thing called a trailer for it, which is good. It is about a film about a friend group staying at an Airbnb. It's a marvel of millennial mumblecore, per the Vulture comedy article. And it co-starred Anna Fabrega, John Reynolds, and Gary Richardson, and was edited by Marty, our friend Marty Shoesby.
I loved the description of the article I love the article's description of the movie as opening with a proposal where the woman being proposed to really has to poop.
Yeah.
I love that's what kicks off everything.
Yeah. And he really writes about how it's like this comedy movie was made for an incredibly small budget, which you don't usually associate with being like great comedy movies. But like, oh, wow, horror movies can break out of that. And he's like, this is as amazing as Paranormal Activity, and probably won't like get the same jump as it did because horror versus comedy. But I really want to see it because he talks about how like amazing the cast is because they've been, they've clearly been working together forever and really, really know each other's, characters. Like they can really, really play together well. And we have been watching them do so for the past however many years. So that's hella true. I really want to see this one.
I want to see it too. I mean, I think it sounds like it's a comedy movie where the talent involved in it, both behind the camera and in front of the camera, just elevates it beyond what you would expect from its budget. Like it was apparently shot, they said like over a week.
Yeah. In like one location. I mean, it looks like it was shot beautifully.
It looked gorgeous. No, whoever was running camera on it and doing the lighting and everything, they pulled it off. It looks great. It looks like an indie film that has a much higher budget than it apparently had. Mm-hmm. So that's exciting. And I wish it had been the Paranormal Activity of comedy. I think it seems like it deserves to be. But unfortunately, the world is mean.
The world is mean.
Which takes us to our next short, Women Are Mean, which is from 2018 and was written by John Reynolds, who stars in the short with Carmen Christopher and Gary Richardson.
So if you can't find the video, I think it's on John Reynolds'
YouTube
page specifically. A lot of these ones have like names that are hard to find in YouTube, like not associated with the people involved. Because I was like, wait, like Carmen Christopher, Women Are Mean, and I couldn't find it. But yeah,
it's on John Reynolds' page, and it's him as like a sad man with Gary Richardson as another sad man. It's really good. It's really funny.
Well, Carmen Christopher isn't sad.
No, I didn't say Carmen Christopher was sad. I think Gary Richardson's a sad man. Carmen Christopher has a exciting mystery role.
It's wonderful. It breaks down that stereotype in a really, really funny way.
It's also a really fun use of costume design in it.
Yes.
And like primary colors. It's great. It's really good.
And then the final one is I'm Killing It, which is a short by Carmen Christopher, written and starring him. He's a man who gets broken up with on his 4-year anniversary. It was directed, shot, and edited by Whit Conway,
who actually did the motion graphics for those lasers you were talking about.
Oh, shit.
Before he was doing the directing stuff. Yeah, he's
did a
been
good job.
tied to him since Little Banks.
It's so cute because I sort of feel like I'm like looking into a much funnier, more successful driven friend group than the one that I have.
I mean, yeah. Like, I feel like I'm writing an essay for college being like, and then these filmmakers did this movie. And then it's John Paul Sartre. Then Gethard did this movie with his
You
three
didn't write
friends.
about Sartre?
No, wow.
Legendary filmmaker John Paul Sartre? I don't know if he did any films.
Sorry, I confused Gethard with Sartre. I mean, they have the same name. It's
I wasn't making
Gethard.
fun of you for mixing them up. I was making fun of you for like shitting on Sartre, who wrote some of my favorite plays. And then I was like, I don't know if Sartre ever made movies. So really it is me.
Okay, it's also Jean-Luc Godard. I guess I can't keep. I knew he shared
like Jean-Luc Picard?
Right. But so I was like, okay, so I knew it was a Jean hyphen something that is with a character or person I'm also very interested in, but I went Sartre instead of Picard. But Godard and all the French New Wave people were all friends, so it looks like that, but for comedy, because we're not digressing at all.
Not whatsoever.
No digressions are happening here.
One thing that I was thinking of mentioning and doing, so the first movie that I could find of his, like from 2013, is something called Party Time, with basically this same cast of people. Like Marty is part of it, I think.
Yeah, I think he was. That's what it is. It is really cool that they have all been working together since 2013. It's not like they pop in and out of each other's careers. They've been like a unit, like going from thing to thing this whole time. And it's always really cool to see that.
Yeah. There are some very, very funny reviews of that movie, however, on Amazon, ranging from like a bunch of people that are like, it funny, or yes, good, to like, what I love is like reading the reviews of people who really hated things gives me a really good idea of what's in it. Cause like when people really hate the thing, they're going to like put why. So you're like, oh, but I like that. So I would enjoy that movie.
It's like that Tolstoy quote. All happy families are the same, but all unhappy families are different. I know I butchered the last part of it, but
you know?
Tolstoy, tweet me, Tolstoy. At me if you have a problem with me butchering your quote.
But a lot of them were just like, it's all dumb comedy and like dumb jokes.
Ooh, okay.
I know. I'm like,
okay.
Tell more. That sounds like my bag of tea. But my very favorite review was, I really liked this movie, but I might be biased because one of the people starring in it is my son.
Oh, is it? Was there a last name on that?
No.
Oh, okay.
Thanks, Mom.
I was really hoping it was going to be, I really like this movie, but I might be biased because I'm Carmen Christopher and I'm in the movie.
That was one of the accusations that someone made. They're like, I don't know why this has any stars. Probably because all of the people who were in it commented that it was God. And I'm like, I mean, maybe, yeah, but also you can calm down. This is less than 99 cents on like Amazon Prime. Actually, I don't think it's available on Prime anymore. But on whatever it was available on, they were just so angry.
They are probably right, though. As someone who's worked on things that are available on Amazon Prime, like, I mean, you know.
I made movies in college, too. They weren't great. They're not available on Prime.
No, I know. I worked on something that is available on Prime, and it's good. And it has good ratings. I may have given one of those good ratings. I don't remember. I would though. So if you need a 5-star rating for when your movie makes it to Prime, hey.
Yeah, look us up. Trash people got you.
Oh yeah. I mean if I'm in your movie, I will give it 5 stars. That'll really shift the metrics a whole lot.
Well, if you are looking to see a show in New York City, you should check him out on August 8th.
It's in Chicago.
Oh, it's in Chicago.
Yeah, it's all of them. It's them going back to Chicago to do a show.
Oh my God, with Gary Richardson and John Reynolds.
Yeah.
That looks really cool.
It's at the IO Theater.
Yeah, so go check them out at the IO Theater. You can see Carmen Christopher do I'm the Weird Guy all over New York, apparently at every freaking place. That's most of his Twitter recently. And Forrest, so for the last segment of this minicast, the hell do you think he's going to do on Chris Gethard Presents?
First, I just want to say we're going to include the link to that IO show, the show in Chicago, in the show
We're
notes.
Include all
so
the
you
links
can get to
in
it.
the
I know,
show
but like I want people to know that.
I say this with the confidence of the person who is not putting together the show notes.
No, but I will put the Eventbrite link for that show in there. But what do I think he's going to do? So he said it's going to be, what did he say? What was it going to be called? He said it's going to be called The Great Night Show with Carmen Christopher. So I think he's going to do a like network talk show parody. So sort of like the kind of talk show that Chris Gethard was rebelling against when he made the Chris Gethard show. Like I think it's going to be a super hammy Tonight Show style parody.
Now, I may be wrong on this because I didn't do my research properly for this show.
Sure.
But there is a show on his YouTube called Trying to Get People to Fight Me, where he takes to the streets of New York to try and get people to fight him. And I'm pretty sure at the end of that, it says Great Night.
Oh, really?
Which makes me think that he might be doing this show already in New York.
I mean, I do fully expect that you'll get him man on the street stuff in the style of jaywalking, for sure. So I think that linking up with those earlier sketches makes a lot of sense. That also really helps explain his video for the Chris Gethard show, where he goes out and confronts people about if they like certain things more than the Chris Gethard show, because that's really format-wise that exact same sketch, you know? Like,
I'm like, no, you just vamp while I try and quickly look up this video.
I was going to do the same thing as soon as you started vamping, so I understand. But I mean, I don't know. I think a talk show works. I like it as sort of a bridge between the Chris Gethard show and CGP, because I think that future guests will probably go more afield of it, because they can't all just do a talk show parody, because then that would get a little derivative. And I definitely don't think, I mean, Banana Man, Keith Haskell, his is entirely pre-recorded, so I think
nope,
his will
it's
be a
just
whole...
good time.
Cool. Well, that was worth it for the audience.
Yep.
But yeah, no, I think that it's going to be a Tonight Show parody, basically. But I think that will happen. I think he will go out on the streets of New York and talk to people about things.
There are also 4 other people in the Instagram post in which he said that it was going to be like a late night thing. Yeah. And their names aren't listed, and I can't tell if they commented on the pictures, but in this picture, it's him with 4 people, and he is shirtless, and he has drawn abs on himself. And then in the next picture over, it has a closer up of those drawn on abs. And then in the last shot, it's a picture of like an actual person's abs. And that person commented, he's a model. So that model commented like, hey, you got my abs. And I was like, oh, a comedian. But no, he's just the model whose abs were taken for that picture.
What he said was, took my abs, fam.
Yeah. And they didn't tag him either. So I'm like, this dude searched for his abs.
Well, or like...
has like a thing out for his
His friend was like,
picture.
hey, dude, these are your abs.
I mean, I didn't mean that with the derision that it came out in my voice. It was more amazing to me that he would be able to find and identify his abs.
I mean, they might be friends. He's a New York-based model. Like, I could easily see...
I actually didn't mean that with derision at all. It just sounded like that.
No, I know you didn't. I just could totally see them knowing each other. And it's like, hey, dude, I put your abs in my thing. And he's like,
You got my abs.
Because it'd be a fun way to help promote your friend who's not a comedy person.
Got me by the abs. LOL.
But I mean, I'm very excited. What do you think he's going to do?
I think that it is going to be like, the all-nude male reviews that used to happen at Nob Hill in San Francisco?
No, actually.
It was big on the sign. It was called all-male nude reviews, and that's how I learned that the word review also meant show.
I didn't really go to Nob Hill. I just sort of avoided it because I was like, oh, they're not gonna like me there. I'm just gonna avoid Nob Hill.
No, this was like as a child. This place is closed down. But yeah, that's what I think it's gonna be.
You think he's gonna do the Thunder from Down Under?
Yep. Yeah, it's just gonna be dicks. There's gonna be a lot of dicks.
But they won't be in the dark this time.
No, bright spotlights on those dicks.
Oh, that's a choice. Well, so will they be like drawn on? Do you
No.
think the Sharpie just you think
No,
that
it's
it's all
gonna
a
be
fake out?
penises. No, it's gonna be real penises. All nude male review
So
live.
You think on episode 1 of CGP he's going to break the only rule that the M&N studio has? Well, one of 2 rules. The other is no baby powder.
Rules were made to be broken. Thank you so much for listening to our mini-sode about Carmen Christopher on CGP Presents. I'm sorry, did you have a fun button for that joke? More fun than me just ending the show?
No.
No?
I'm intentionally talking quietly so you can cut it out if you need to.
Oh, thank you, Forrest. Okay.
You don't need to have to keep this.
Thank you so much for listening. We're really, really excited to see Carmen Christopher on June 26th on Carmen Christopher Presents, on Chris Gethard Presents, which you can watch live at the following URL.
chrisgeth.com/live.
But yeah, watch it. We're excited. You should be too. Have a wonderful rest of your week.
Tell your wife I'm going. She trusts me. She knows those other guys are slime. Not me, though.
Carmen, what are you doing in my office?
Oh, hey, Chrissy, I'm just wrapping up a sales call. Grab some popcorn, take a seat. I'll be with you in a minute.
Did you put a popcorn machine in here?
Lauren Michael's got a popcorn machine in his office. You got one now. Thank you.